Quiet quitting is a term that has been taking social media by storm. It doesn't mean that you're actually quitting your job, but it means that you're quitting the hustle. Why are people doing this? They're doing it to prevent burnout. It's actually a really wise idea if you feel yourself being overwhelmed. It is what they used to call in union days, if you work for a union, work to rule, which means working according to the basic rules, your job description, exactly what you're supposed to be doing, but not going over and above, not working beyond, and not putting in all the extra hours. For some people, it means when you clock out at whatever time you clock out at the end of the day, you don't look at emails. You're not available by text or on your phone. You shut everything off and your workday is done, and you have your evening or the rest of your day, whatever shift you're working, with your family, with your friends, for yourself. It means that you're not always pushing, going. And it's not new. Just the term might be new, but part of why it's become such a thing is because of the pandemic. A lot of people worked from home, a lot of people weren't working, a lot of people realized, hey, life is short. I could be doing these things with my friends, with my family, for myself, if I wasn't constantly working. And so I think it's a little bit of a reset, and rather than leaving work, as in the Great Resignation, where a lot of people were trying to figure out, should I retire? Should I find different work that I actually like doing? Are there things that I could be spending my time and my talents and my skills on that give me joy, that feed me, instead of leaving the job that you're in? If you happen to like the job that you're in, then quiet quitting, even for a season, might be for you. Now, how are employers going to handle this? You might have to look at the expectations. What is your job description? What are the expectations? Have you been the person that's always gone above and beyond? And if you suddenly decide you're going to quiet quit, it might be shocking to people. It might not be very cool. It might not be expected, and so you might want to have an open and frank conversation. You might want to say, look, I am feeling like I'm heading toward burnout, and so I'm going to scale back a little bit. I'm not going to take on the 3 extra projects. I'm going to leave when I'm supposed to leave at the end of the day. My phone or my email will be shut off until the next day. Or perhaps you're able to say something like, I'm going to scale back for this month, give myself a little bit of a breather, and then I'm happy to take on more projects next month. So it's about boundary setting in some ways. And I think it's actually a very healthy thing. Not that you're going to be, I'm not lifting an extra finger when you need help because, but it is a way to be gentle with yourself. It's a way to get your work done and be more productive maybe during the time that you're there, and knowing that you're not going to be working outside of the parameters of the work day. So is quiet quitting for you? Only you can answer that question. I would say do it with communication, do it gently, do it if it's right for you. If you feel like this would give you a little bit of a breather, it doesn't mean not getting your work done. Absolutely. You still need to get your work done. Be productive, be a valuable employee. But what it could mean is that you are less frazzled, you're getting more downtime, you're having a little bit more fun, and you are more productive, more focused, and more available when you are at work. That's what quiet quitting is all about, and I hope that you give it some thought, especially if you are heading toward burnout, or you're feeling stressed, or you think you might be. If you have any comments about that, please leave them in the box below. Click subscribe. The best way that you can respond would be to hit that like button so that more people can see this video. If you want to know what I was talking about with the Great Resignation, I will link to that video over here. And if you are interested in a playlist all about self-care and looking after yourself, which is really important so that you can function productively and excellently in your work when you are at work, I will leave that playlist over here. Until next time, take good care. Thanks for staying till the end. After the end, I just want to talk one little bit more about quitting, quiet quitting, and working to rule, because I did used to work in a union setting for many, many years, a couple of decades, when I worked in the hospital and when I taught at the college. And every once in a while there'd be a labor dispute, there would be a strike, or there would be a work to rule situation that went on. And I remember that it was hard for me to not do the extra things that people asked me to do when we were working to rule. I found that a challenge. I found that hard because I like to please people and I like to do my job well, excellently, and I like to be helpful. And I remember one time at the hospital, one of the things we often used to do is if someone was being discharged and needed to call a cab and it was a long wait for a porter to come, then sometimes I would, if they were well enough, I would happily take them in their wheelchair down the elevator, take them to where the taxi phone was, and get them to call for a cab there, or bring them to a volunteer that will call a cab for them. Technically, I was not supposed to do patient transport, and so technically that was not in my job description. And I would only do it if I knew the person was healthy and well and they were going home, because I didn't want to be stuck in an elevator with somebody who suddenly had a collapse, and I'm not medically trained to deal with that. But I found it hard to say I'm not doing that. So I think you need to be not a jerk about this with yourself and with other people. So if it really upsets you to not help somebody, you have to weigh that. Like, this thing is all about your well-being and your boundary setting. So what are you going to do? What are you going to take off that plate that's so full, that is something that fits with your inner self, that fits with your ethos, that fits with your work ethic? What are you going to be able to take off? Maybe, yes, it will be difficult not to look at emails. I have a hard time not looking at emails. I've been on vacation from my other job, my job in ministry, for 3 weeks, and I must confess, while I have not responded to them, I have looked at a few emails just to see what was happening. And I'm not responding to them. I put on an autoresponder, but it's very hard because I want to know what's happening, right? So it can be really hard internally to do this quiet quitting, but it's been actually really nice to not be expected to answer emails. So I'm pleased about that. So do this for you. Don't do it just because it's a thing. Don't do it because everybody says you should do it. Think about what bits you might want to pull back on a little bit that feel right to you, and then do that if you need to. You might not need to. You might be in the hustle season of your life. Anyhow, it's up to you. Take care. Talk to you soon.